Good morning.
Good morning, Cass. How are
How are
you?
you?
I'm good. Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday to you too.
We have like the most favorite topic of mine to talk about today.
I wonder why.
I wonder why. New construction, my baby. There's something about that. The smell of new construction. We have so much to talk about. We prepared so much information that we hope everybody finds useful and helpful if they're considering new construction. It's a great option. So a lot of people get overwhelmed by it, right, Cass? A lot of
Yeah,
people they're worried, they're stressed, they think it's too much. And our goal is to hopefully give them enough information to be able to at least consider that route and go that route and explore that route. So before we get into our topic and go over all the advice that we can give people, I do want to bring up something really not relevant to new construction. I do have a new mug. I don't know if you can see what it says.
what's it say?
It says, "You're the best."
Oh, I love it.
I know. I was like, so listen to the story. So Mariella was listening to the podcast that we did. And I remember that one time I was like, I'm so boring. All my mugs are clear and boring. I
Yeah,
don't have anything. And then one day she was at a store with her dad and she asked to buy a mug for me. And then she got this mug for me. It says,
that's
"You're the
so
best."
cute.
I know.
The best.
She is the best. I wanted to share this story because I wanted you to all know I'm not boring. It's still white and like kind of gray and stuff, but at least it has some thing in
Yeah.
it. All right, let's get started. I'm going to share my screen as always. I'm going to talk. Cass, please pay attention to who is.
Perfect.
Can you hear me? Sorry,
Yes,
you're.
I was getting our videos up so I can see comments coming in. So I think I'm all set now.
Oh, good, good, good. All right. Do we have good crowd that we can start talking to?
Yeah, we almost have 10 people.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for joining. We're so excited to have you, and hopefully you find this topic interesting. And again, as always, Cass and I here are not just teachers giving you drilling information and preaching here. It's to give you information to hopefully minimize your research, but really to be your resource and answer your questions. So, Cass and I are in the field all the time. We're seeing things, we're feeling things, we're talking to people. So, questions you have, just don't hesitate to ask, and Cass will throw them out, and we'll go from there. All right, let's get started. Share screen. All right. Cass, can you see this?
Yes. Are you able to make it a little bigger by chance or no?
Um,
But it looks good.
you know what? I think I can, but I'm so worried I'm going to press something. And let me try.
There you go.
Is it better?
That's better.
Is,
Perfect.
is this good?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to stop then. All right, so Cass, once again, I don't see comments and stuff, so please stop me if I'm just talking and somebody's asking a question, okay?
Okay.
So the topic today is what to know when considering new construction and what options and questions and all of that stuff. So the first thing that when we were preparing for this podcast, we want to make sure that it always starts obviously with educating yourself on new home buying process. So just like anything, if you're buying a resale home, we talked about that. You have to have a strategy. You have to have a plan of what you're doing. Same thing with new construction. So have a strategy. You need to have the right team in place, and we'll talk about what that right team means in order for you to have a successful story. And then make sure you understand not only the builders, which is super important. We'll talk about what to ask and what what builders types of builders are out there, but also what neighborhoods that you would consider, because that's probably, in my opinion, the hardest actually part of this process is figuring out location and what neighborhood and understanding a lot of things about the lot or the community or the plans for the community to make sure you're comfortable, because you can't change that. Once you build your dream home, if you're not happy with the neighborhood or the community or the lot or whatever, unfortunately, I see that more often than I should be when people are going, I didn't realize my lot was this. I didn't realize I was going to have a house behind me. I didn't realize this cul-de-sac was going to continue. I thought that was a dead end. And it's all really stems from not being educated and not having enough information when you're making a decision. So educate yourself is really important. Cass, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, that you can, knowing, especially if you're in a development or community, asking the right questions on that because that can change. That can change drastically.
Yeah, I really think that's one of the biggest reasons why people have a fear of new construction is the unknown, what will happen there. But there are answers out there. So don't be
Yeah.
scared by that, because the builders that are building in developments, they have community plan, they have projected plan, they have a lot of different things in place that they can present to you to educate you. If you're looking at just a random lot that's not in a development, there's still a lot to consider, but usually it's in older neighborhoods, so you're kind of seeing already what's going on around. It's a little bit with the lots that are not in developments, it's more making sure that the lot can accommodate the kind of house. In developments, it's more making sure that the community is the style and the feel you're looking for.
Yes.
Advice.
Yeah.
All right. So number two, I always say that's extremely important in anything, whether you're buying or resale new, get your finances in order, right? You can't, right, Kaz, I say that a lot too. It's the first stop. You would not believe how often people started without getting all that in a row. And I don't know, or even saying, oh, I have that taken care of and that's all good. And then discovering it's not because there's anything wrong where they were doing it on purpose. It's because they didn't realize they had to be at their job for 2 years, or they didn't realize that they needed a construction loan or this loan or that. So having the right team. So just like we always say, not all plumbers are created equal, accountants are created equal, realtors created equal. Not all lenders are created equal. So make sure you really do your due diligence on understanding your options with lenders. And that could cost you a lot of money, because not only interest rate obviously is a difference, which is what most people think. What is my interest rate and what are my closing costs? Those are huge, and they can vary between lenders, obviously. So you would want to definitely shop around to make sure you're comfortable with it. But the other part is who can actually get the job done? Who can actually close that kind of loan? Who can make that process seamless? Some lenders will require to do 2 loans and 2 closing costs if you're doing new construction. Some require only 1 loan. So there's so many different things to be educated on as far as a loan that can save you literally thousands of dollars. So educate yourself. Next part is definitely get involved in understanding financing and connecting with the preferred lenders that hopefully a realtor's working, or if you just work in general. Anything else on that, Cass?
Well, with the financing, we work with lenders, and then some builders have their in-house lenders too. So it's getting information on both, comparing both of them. So you know everything about them.
Yep, we definitely have that in one of our bullet points we're going to go over about if you are dealing with a builder who does have their own financing, like what questions to understand that. But in general, just make sure you got your finance in order, whichever route you go, understand that. The financing part gets extremely overwhelmed only if you don't hire the right lender to talk to. If you're talking to the right lender who's dealing with it, understands it, it's really not that complicated, and they can really help you and guide you very easily on that. All right, so we talked about that in the first part, but understanding the future of the neighborhood is extremely important. You can't change that, so make sure you understand that. Okay, researching the builders when buying new construction home. So places where you can start, obvious, is look online for reviews. That's always a good place to start. It does, again, get a little overwhelming because you will hear extreme of, I had the best experience, I had the worst experience, and you don't know the backstory behind it, but at least it'll give you an idea. If you obviously see 100% of all bad reviews, it might be a sign. Testimonials, obviously, is a good one. The other thing that I've recommended to some of our clients is connecting through social media and just driving by neighborhoods. Just drive around whatever neighborhood you're considering, and typically, especially in a planned community, there's people outside typically. So just pull over. Don't be shy. Come up and say, don't even say I'm thinking. I don't know, whatever you want to say, but just, how did you like the building experience? What was good about it? What was bad? Have some more specific questions. Don't ask just general, because they might just say, oh, it's good, it was good, and you got nothing out of it. So be prepared even to ask the neighbors in the neighborhood specific questions that are important to you. So if having a lot of children in a neighborhood is important to you, ask that. It's a fair housing question, so builders cannot answer that, realtors cannot answer that, but people in a neighborhood can. And it's not a bad or good question, it's just something that's important to you. So drive through a neighborhood and ask whatever is important to you, because there's no rules that apply to asking neighbors questions as far as a neighborhood, and also as far as their building. Hey, was your house built on time? And there'll be other many questions that we'll give you to ask, but whatever's important to you, connect people through social media on it, and then also drive through the neighborhood. And then don't be afraid to ask a lot of questions, either of the builder that you're talking to. So they should have answers for you, or again, people in the neighborhood that you're considering.
That's a great idea. I love going to the neighborhood and asking them because they know firsthand.
They do. And they have no problem sharing. It's amazing.
Right.
I used to, Cass, when I used to sell new construction, I used to recommend that all the time. Like if anybody would ever ask me questions, how's the community? How's the building process? How was the construction quality? Or whatever they would ever ask. I've always had a lot of information to provide them. That was, things that I gathered, testimonials, facts, time frames, whatever format I had it for proof to present to them what they're answering. But at the end of the day, I used to always say that I can tell you all day long and I can prove all this stuff, but the people who are going to really tell you, and you can hopefully feel comfortable or not after that, is the people who are in the neighborhood that I worked with in the past.
Yeah.
So drive through the neighborhood and ask how their experience was with me. How was their experience with the builder? How was their experience with the project manager? How was their process of selecting options, or whatever it was,
Right.
to ask. And then at the end, people would either come in to buy or they didn't. And that was okay. But at least they were extremely informed and they were going into it the right way.
Yes.
The thing that I made in bold, find out what's all included and what upgrades are available. So part of your research with any builder should definitely be understanding what's included. Most builders, unless they're extremely small, do have a form called included feature sheet. So that will tell you that. And then as far as the upgrades, a lot of them have a list of upgrades. Sometimes they don't, and that's where you have to kind of sit down and go through it. Having somebody who's experienced next to you, which we'll talk about, having a realtor that's knowledgeable, why that's important to you, is also helpful, because there's so many options that are out there. And not that a realtor can think of everything, but a builder's job is to inform you of things, but not over-inform you, because there's literally endless things you can add to the house.
Yeah.
So you can overprice yourself very quickly by doing that. And two, you can get overwhelmed. So they try to control their options. So understand the options, but having somebody next to you that is knowledgeable, I can say, hey, did you think about having that drain or spigot? A lot of the things you're not thinking of are very minor and they're not expensive, but they're a big deal in everyday life. If you don't have that water spigot in the back of your house and you're like normally playing with your kids and using a hose for it, you're going to remember that moment that you forgot to add that $125 hose, because it's a pain in the butt to add it. So those are the kind of things that will be really helpful for you to think up front and make sure you get them when you're building.
Yeah.
The other thing, again, being in new construction, I was in model homes. Cass, you've been in a lot of model homes, right?
I have.
And it's so important for you to understand when you're walking to that model home that you're not buying that model home. Unless you're literally buying that model home, you're not buying that model home. You are buying a new home, which is so awesome. And there's so many perks to it, and we'll talk about as we go through it, but you're not buying that model home. So make sure you 100% understand what is included, what's not included. If you're buying that particular floor plan, you're not disappointed. I would say probably on top of the land disappointment, that's usually the biggest disappointment of people going, I thought I was buying and I didn't get that. And it was just a lack of question and misunderstandings. Any thoughts on that? Because I know you're in a lot of different model homes that you see.
Yeah, you walk into the model home that's, decked out and perfect, and, expectations are that, but that's not what you build, and it could be hard.
Yeah. And a lot of times they do a lot of cosmetic features too. So they're not even options that they include or offer. It's just more they're trying to give you an idea because it's a model home. That's the whole point, which is a great thing. Like I don't, just as a realtor and a person who's worked in that field, I think it's a great idea because people want to be inspired. I'm inspired. I want to go to model home and be like, ooh, look at that new trend of that wall or whatever. So it's a great thing. It's not a bad thing. Don't think it's a negative. Just again, make sure you understand what cosmetic features that they're showing you're getting or you're not getting.
Yes.
Okay. Make sure everything's in writing. Big one. So anything in general has to be in writing, right? Whether it's a resale home or new construction. In new construction, it's probably even more because there's just more things to consider. So that whole thing of oh, the salesperson told me blah, the realtor told me this, it's just not going to work. Like you're not going to win that battle. If you heard something and you want it, it needs to be in writing. So make sure it's in the contract, clearly stated that you are getting that toilet in that location or whatever it is.
100%.
Use creative negotiation. So this is another one that very often, especially because I come with so much experience from new construction, I get a lot of people asking me for help with helping them buy a new home, thinking or not thinking, but wanting for me to help them with negotiating contracts. And very honest with them, and I don't think a lot of realtors are, but new construction does not, new builders very often do not negotiate. Some builders are extremely firm and they just do not negotiate, period. That's just, it's a zero policy for that. It's called a straight talk policy is what they call it. Which basically they do the research up front. They know how much lots are. They know how much, prices are. They know what the market can bear, and then they price them right. So it's either you want it or you don't. There's a lot of positive to that strategy. It's giving people the peace of mind that you don't need to have that stress like you would going into a car dealership. I don't know about you all, but I have this anxiety because I don't think I'll be able to negotiate a car deal as good as maybe somebody who knows more about cars or this or that. So when they do that straight talk policy, it's because they really want people to have ease of coming in and being relaxed and focusing on the important things, which is the community and the house and the lot, versus just focusing on, am I going to get $500 off or $1,000 off or whatever. So with that said, can a realtor negotiate a contract for you? Absolutely, especially with the smaller builders, there's room for that here and there, but overall that's not. So when we say creative negotiating, where a realtor could help you, or you doing it yourself if you're talking to a builder directly, is think of options, upgrades. Builders don't want to reduce prices of homes because they're trying to, well, first of all, they have specific margins, but two, they're really trying to keep the value of a neighborhood, which is a really good thing. You don't want to, buy your house for 200,000 and then know somebody got a really good deal on that house and bought it for 180, and now the whole neighborhood is in lower price, right?
Yeah.
So negotiating price down is something they're really, really against. However, being creative and figuring out how do you still stay in the budget and negotiate the upgrades that you want within the reason, obviously, whatever they can work. That's something that either a really good realtor who's knowledgeable in new construction can help, or if you're a good negotiator, try to talk to the builders directly in regards to options. Don't get fixated on the base price as much. Any thoughts on that, Cass, when you're in the field about that?
Yeah, no, that's perfect because, the some builders don't have any wiggle room. And there's some that, I worked with a smaller builder and we were able to negotiate a little more because we were dealing with him directly. So it all depends on the builder.
Yeah, typically the bigger builders, they have a more of a straight talk policy.
Yeah.
The smaller builders don't. And I will tell you, it's not that there's wrong or right. I personally think, coming from, again, many, many years of new construction, I think the reason that the big builders can get away with being straight talk policies because they have the resources to do the right research upfront
Yeah.
to price their houses correctly.
Yeah.
Where the smaller builders, they don't. It's usually, a son and a father and their uncle and their cousin building this house is very often, right?
Yes.
Great thing. It's a very personal experience. You can get exactly what you want. There's definitely a lot of positive to that as well, but they don't have the resources to do as much research. So they often just kind of like throw the number up and then they can negotiate it. So
Yeah.
The other
I
thing,
agree.
a lot of times also the smaller builders and the custom builders have more margins for negotiations because their profit margin that they crank up front is higher because they don't build as many houses. So they need to make more money on each house versus a big builder is more looking at a volume,
Yes.
how many homes they build. So again, it's a different strategy. So from our experience, if we can give you guys any advice on that, smaller custom builders, more room to negotiate. Bigger custom or big builders don't have much, if anything. So don't be disappointed one or the other, just be educated on it. And again, if you're working with not just a realtor, we'll talk about how important it is, but a realtor who's experienced and knowledgeable in new construction, they will be able to give you more guidance on that and steer you the right way, because there's so many times, like I said, I get people asking me to go to a big builder and ask them to negotiate on their behalf. And I would just make that process so not fun for them by just telling them, yes, I can do it when I know I can't. And now they're not disappointed in building this perfect home for their family in a perfect community because they felt like they didn't get a deal, So
Yeah.
it's not about a deal at that point. It's not about the price. It's about the right product and the right community, and a professional realtor will be able to guide you correctly on that. Okay, I'm moving on that. What warranties and post-closing follow-up does the builder offer? Make sure you understand that. Again, every builder has different. Some have crazy extended warranties, 10-year, 2-year, 10-year. They follow up. They have a 30-day post. They have a 10-month. So everybody's different. Typically, again, bigger builders have a more structured process to follow up on warranties, and they have like a booklet they can give you. Smaller builders are a little bit more mom and pop. They might give you a PDF 3-page flyer on it or something like that. Either way, not a wrong or right. Just make sure you understand what warranties you're getting and what are they doing after you built, after you actually close on the house, because there's only so much during construction that the builder can catch, two, you can catch, right? You're not a builder. So once you move into your house settles. It's normal. Your house has nail pops. That's normal. Your house has settling cracks, different things that can happen in a home from just being a new home. What happens? Who's taking care of those post
Yes.
closing up? Things that happen in the house. All right, so that's about the warranties. Kaz, does anybody have any questions about anything I went over so far that I can answer?
I don't see any questions. Lots of highs.
Okay. Aw, hi.
Kristen, Terry,
Oh, my new construction girls.
Dana, Len Gold, everyone's saying hi, but no questions as of right now.
Awesome. Well, several of the names you said are people who are working in new construction. So I'm so glad they're listening, and they have such an insight on this topic, obviously, because both names you said have been doing it for years and years and years. So please, Kristen, Dawn, I've just bring your 2 cents into it. We would love to hear from you on what you recommend on when people are considering new construction. If I miss anything, please bring it up. Okay. Do I need a home inspection on new construction homes? So when I used to work for a big builder, I used to always say, I just know my project manager, which I always had phenomenal project managers and I believed in them very much. I knew the warranty process. I knew the post-inspection process. It was so thorough that I almost felt like it was waste of money for my clients to get those inspections. Now that I'm on the other side, which is a realtor and more of a general, trying to help people on a general scale, not just specific. As a whole, if I had to say in general, not specific one builder or the other, I would recommend it. I don't think it's a bad idea. And I think getting an inspector who's knowledgeable in new construction specifically, so not just somebody who just does general, after, and then try to get them not through only at the end, but through phases. So like, just plumbing, just framing, closing. Sometimes I will tell you these inspectors do complicate the process because they have a different philosophy. You can build a house a billion different ways, and not one or the other is right or wrong. But it can't hurt to have a professional's eye on the process and coming in and say, "Hey, you know what? That stud is crooked," or "Why is there a big giant hole there?" or "Why is it not X, Y, and Z by center," or whatever. And there'll be an answer by the builder very often on why they did something, but that's okay. At least you're informed. And if the builder missed it, it's just an extra eye. So the additional, $600-700 that it's going to cost you to hire somebody to inspect the process and have your representation in it is not a bad idea in the building process.
It gives the buyer that peace of mind that there's another eye looking at it.
Yep, I agree. Like I said, big builders they're like a machine when it comes down to it. They're not as needed with the big builders like the Homes and the Pulte's and the Drees and K. Hovanian. They have really structured systems for inspections. And the other thing a lot of people don't know that during construction, majority, if not all cities, at least all the cities I've ever sold in, also require city inspection. So the builder cannot themselves go to the next step until the city inspector comes in and checks foundation, checks framing, checks plumbing, checks electrical. And the builder actually has to get permits for all these things. So that's something that also is not a bad idea to ask. Was there, they can't go to the next phase without it. So if you are my engineer type of client who really likes to know the details of it, it can't hurt to ask the builder, hey, how did the inspection go with the city? And have them answer, oh yeah, we passed it, or we failed a couple of things that came back. Again, knowing that information will really help, I think, for people who are detailed. For those that just want to buy and move in at the end, don't worry about it. Know that there are so many things put in place by regulations of building homes that even if you don't want to spend money on a inspector, there are other things in place that are protecting you, but having an extra set of eyes cannot hurt.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. What is covered in new construction home warranty? We talked about it's kind of repeating, but make sure you understand what's covered and what's not. Hire an experienced realtor is the last part. The one big thing, I made it all in bright color. I don't know if you see that, Cass. And
Yeah.
builders pay agents the commission. So the buyer does not pay in our market. So I'm telling you what's going on in the market. Are other markets different? Are all builders doing that? Again, I can't vouch for all builders, but any builder I've ever worked with, they pay the buyer's agents commission for the process. It doesn't cost the actual buyer. So it doesn't mean that your price of your home will be higher because there's a realtor. It doesn't mean that you're going to be charged for the realtor fee. Obviously, still double check. You never want to have a surprise. So I'm going to give you that disclosure. So whichever realtor you're working, if it's not us, make sure you ask them, hey, if I do use you for new construction advice and expertise, do you charge for that? So ask that. Cass and I, we do not. We get paid by the builder who we bring our client to. But the most important thing when we do that is truly trying to be the guidance and the expert in that process, and making sure we connect and match the right builder with the right client.
Yes.
We do such an intensive client consultation for buyer consultation to see what somebody's looking. And new construction is a big question that we ask. Would you consider new construction? And if the answer is no, why would you not consider new construction? And we drill into that a lot because we want to make sure, again, our clients are educated on it and don't rule something out that could be a great option for them because they think it's too expensive or it's untouchable or it's just too overwhelming or they think it's too hard. New construction very often is easier than even buying a resale home, especially in the current market when there's such a shortage of inventory.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we're looking for a resale home, we are just hoping for something to go on the market and we're waiting for that to happen. So it's unknown. When somebody's telling us, yes, they would consider new construction, for us, for Cass and I, it's like a relief. We're like, oh, thank God, because we can automatically identify all the new communities, give them their options, and you don't have to work with bidding wars and all of that. They can actually do it in calm way.
And I think all the different types of builders we do work with, helps the buyer too. Like when I was working with a buyer, they only had two that they talked to, from what they were looking for, I think there were better options out there. So just giving them names, having them research, take a look into those other model homes.
Yep.
So we can bring, many different builders to the table.
Correct. Yeah. Every builder, and honestly, you can, like I always say about everything, you can always do like this research online,
Mm-hmm.
all this stuff. So it's not that you have to have a realtor, but if you do hire a professional realtor who specializes in new construction, is knowledgeable, the amount of time and money you will save on that is crazy because we have all those resources. We've done all that research already. And Cass, you're absolutely right. I mean, the client that I know you're talking about that just recently happened to, the builders that they were looking, there were nothing wrong with those builders. It's just we knew the client's needs and style because we sold their house and we saw their decor and we saw their feel. And this particular builder that we brought up is exactly that. It's that what do you call it? It's like that rusticy with a modern combo that is not with every builder that is out there. And we brought that builder to them and they were like, oh my goodness, this is awesome. And they're very, really excited. So they're working with them now and getting a lot of information. But again, every builder has their own niches. Some builders are super good at their detail work and crown moldings and arches. So if that's important to you, we know which ones do that. Some builders are just an amazing value for a home. You can get a lot in a great area and the process is super, super simple, right? So for somebody who doesn't have time in their life to add complexity, that's extremely important to them. So we want to add that to them, and we've identified some builders are known for their locations. They're super good at identifying premier locations. So they're really good for resale. So we know that if somebody's looking for, hey, I'm looking for a 5 to 7 year home or 10-year home, or any home, obviously we want to resell any home for highest as we can, but some areas are just easier and some communities are just easier to resell because the builder specializes in prime locations. They're a little more expensive, but their locations are usually better. Some are really known for great curb appeal, some having just great exteriors and having a lot of wow factor. Some are known for land. They just go after bigger properties and they don't go after smaller lots. Some are the opposite. They're known for smaller lots. So if somebody's not looking for a lot of land, that's a builder we would want. Some build off-site, which means if you actually own your own lot, they're a great builder. Many builders do not build off-site. They only build in their community. So don't waste your time with them, right? So I could honestly go on and on and on. And again, if you're listening, please ask questions if you are wanting something specific on that topic. But the main thing I want you all to know is that builders pay the commission, so you don't have to worry about it. And there's a huge value of hiring a professional realtor in that process to simplify and expedite and save you a lot of money.
Perfect.
Any thoughts on that, Cass?
I think we covered a lot on that one.
You're like, Ina, move on. We got it. So this is just a quick summary. So we went over the 11 points. Those are the main things that I wanted to cover today.
Yeah.
Just the highlights, just that I wanted to identify is every builder is different. Do your research, know your options. The first price you see is likely not going to be the final price. What I mean by it is builders very often say $220, $230, $300 million. It's a starting price. That starting price often includes a lot. So don't, again, I know there's a big myth, at least when I used to sell new construction, people used to come in and say, oh, I know, you're starting at 220s, but I can't get a house for 220s. It's a gimmick. It's not a gimmick, with majority of builders. If they say 220s, they have a product, they have a lot, they have everything. It's just, you need to understand that there are other options and you need to be informed of those options that can increase the price, but that's a luxury, or that's your choice of what you want to do. So make sure you are not the extreme person that thinks that whatever price they're advertising is not real. That's not accurate. But also don't be the person who is so gullible who thinks that 220 means you're getting exactly what you want with gold toilets and diamond floors and whatever else you think you're going to get there. Okay. Know the type of floor plan and customizations that are important to you. That's like my big summary too. So when you're doing a buyer consultation with your realtor, and if new construction is the route you want to go to, try to be as clear with your realtor on what is your style. What are you looking for? Is it traditional? Is it more contemporary? Is it lots of detail work or simple clean? Is it big windows? Believe it or not, even sometimes as little as the type of windows, that makes a huge difference. There's a lot of builders that, they include a certain type of window that has it's called the mittens, which is like the little grates in between the windows. And there's no other windows. That's the only windows they do on every single house. It's a community standard. It's required. Well, if you are a more modern person and you don't like those traditional windows and you like it more clean white glass, do you know how many builders we can rule out for you right away? If that is a really important feature for you. If it's not, it's a different story, but try to really understand and think about what is your style? Why are you looking to build? What are you trying to accomplish with building? And those are the things that more you know about it and more you tell your professional realtor, more will be able to help you. All right. So top questions to ask your builders. I know I'm repeating again, but I'm trying to kind of separate. And we can email this to anybody who's watching this if you're interested. So just put in your comments, either email or private messages, and I can just email you this sheet that we put together. But top questions to ask your builders: are there any warranties, and what are they? What is provided with them? Can a home inspector examine? That's a very important question. So we talked about it a lot. Should you get one or should you not? We had a whole discussion on that a minute ago. But not every builder allows it. They might just say, no, we don't allow outside, inspectors coming into our site for safety. It could be multiple reasons why they don't allow for it. So you would want to make sure that if that is important to you, you're planning to hire a home inspector during the build process, is to ask the builder up front that they do allow for it. And hopefully, honestly, get it back in writing. If you have it, don't just Don't just let the salesperson say, oh yeah, absolutely, that's not a problem. And then you sit down with the project manager and he's like, no, that's not allowed. And it becomes a very he, she said this. So if hiring an inspector is important to you and you've asked a question and the answer is yes, put that in writing. How long will the building take? So every builder is extremely different. Some are like super fast. You almost wonder how they build a house that quickly when I can't even remodel a bathroom that fast. So I know, I'm like, how the heck?
It's a good question.
What is it?
This is a good question because they're all different too.
Yes, they are. And then some take so long that you're like, oh my goodness, like I don't even want this house in that time frame. So understand how long it takes and why it takes. So just because a builder said it takes them 4 or 5 months or 3 months, even believe it or not, it doesn't mean they're building a bad home. It just means that you got to figure out your time frame with moving and all that stuff. So knowing that question of how long will it take to build answers two things for you. One, so you understand where you're moving in, right? The time of that. And so you can time your move with, most likely you're not homeless. Hopefully you're coming from either apartment where there's a lease, or you're coming from a home and it needs to be sold and there's a whole timing of things that needs to happen. So knowing when your home will be built is a great question for that purpose, but also knowing when your home will be built or how long will be to understand the style of the builder you're hiring. If they're really fast, why are they fast? If they're really slow, why are they slow? They need to answer those questions, because I would question both and make sure you hear that, because the builders that take a really, really long time doesn't necessarily mean they're really good quality. So don't misunderstand that. It could just be that they're just really slow. Like they hire, they work once a week or they hire, they have one trade that they use and between 5 houses, and your house is exposed to outside elements for many, 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 many months, which is not good either. So how long is extremely important question. Another big thing that is probably the biggest explosion for most buyers when they find this out, and it's extremely important to know, is landscaping included. Make sure you ask the builder. Some include, some don't. Majority do not include. It's not a big deal. You can get it done afterwards. You can get prices before you even decide to buy how much it's going to cost. A good realtor can give you a good gauge on price range. A good builder can give you a good gauge, but understanding it, because very often people don't understand that. They move in and then they're hating the builder or they're hating the process and they're complaining all over the world because they don't have landscaping.
Yeah.
Ask the question if they have landscaping. The other one is not as big of a deal for some reason. For some reason, people are not as explosive about it, but it's still important to know, is there a deck or a patio or like a fence or anything on the outside that's included? Most builders do not include fence. Most builders do not include decks or patios, but some have started doing those covered porches with their, the covered patios. Those are becoming popular, so you see that, but definitely ask that. So one of the things we talked about, builder mortgage or bigger in-house mortgage lender. So if you are working with the bigger builders, they typically have in-house financing. So ask them who that is, what the perks are there any perks of using them? Very often they do. So not only there's a financial perk often to use a in-house builder or a mortgage company, but there's also often that I recommend, why I tell people to go that route, at least at the beginning, if anything, before they make a decision, because it makes the process a lot easier and smoother for the construction to actually start. So when a builder starts construction, they need all their paperwork from your bank to be able to start building your home, correct? So if you're using your own bank and your bank is not the best or the fastest or is knowledgeable in new construction, and they're providing pre-approval letters that are not sufficient for the builder, guess what happens? Cass, you know what happens, right?
Yes.
Construction does not start.
That's delayed.
Is delayed. It just sits there, and everybody's so frustrated.
Yeah.
And honestly, I can't blame the builder. If I was the owner and I was the builder, I would not start construction if I had all the paperwork from the buyer letting me know they're either paying cash and here's the proof of funds, or they have their finances in order to be able to close on this house in 3, 4, 5 months or whatever. So I can't blame them. So make sure you have your stuff in order, but more importantly, see if they have in-house, start the process with them, see if there's any perks, because when it's an in-house financing, that process is so much smoother because that in-house financing communicates with the builder directly. And really, because it's one company very often or sister company, by just that in-house financing, letting them know, hey, everything is good, it's good enough for them to start construction. That's how easy it is for them. So definitely don't rule it out, because we do work with people who are, I only use First Federal, I only use Third Federal, I only use Fifth Third, I only use blah. Great, no problem with that. But at least explore that, because we want to make your process as smooth and as easy as possible. And we get nothing as realtors, and which financing you go with. We just want to make sure your process is as smooth as possible for the good time. Any thoughts on that, Cass?
No, I mean, we just want it smooth for everyone, the builder, the buyer, like the lender, the title company. Everything just needs to go smooth.
Yeah. Actually, it's a very good point. So in-house title company is another good one.
Yeah.
So you would not believe how often somebody goes, I had a cousin who owns a title company and I want to use them. And just because of that, and they were trying to either help a cousin at that point or trying to save a couple $100. Well, their closing is supposed to be on Tuesday. And because something didn't happen and didn't transfer and didn't do right, now it's closing on a Wednesday. So only one delay, but you already had your mover scheduled for Tuesday. And now your movers are at your house. And the builder said, you cannot put anything in the garage. That's my favorite question. Can I put things in my garage?
Yes.
You cannot put anything inside the house until the title transfers. And then what happens at that point? Emotions get up. You get angry. You hate the builder. You hate the realtor. You hate the building process. You regret everything you've ever done, where nobody did anything wrong. You just decided to go with somebody who could not communicate accordingly. So one of the things, if you look in the top, when I talked about first thing that I said, educating yourself on a new process, one of the things I said, I don't know if, just to remind y'all, having the right strategy, but what is the second thing I wrote? Have the right team.
Mm-hmm.
Have the right team is super important. And it consists of the right realtor, the right builder, the right title company, the right mortgage company or bank, and making sure everybody works together smoothly to get this to the best experience you possibly can have. And it really does make a difference. It makes a difference financially. It makes a difference mentally. I mean, that's what I say. I'm like, oh my goodness. At the end of the day, nobody remembers the deal they ever got. They only remember the nightmare they had with some experience. It's like my favorite saying of all time, including myself. Oh my goodness.
Right.
I was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to get a deal here, or this person's giving me a couple $100 less here. And then they never show up, or they don't do this. And I'm like, why?
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. So don't just look at a deal. Look at the value, look at the big package, look at the process, and then you will just be so grateful for it at the end. The next thing is, what does the energy efficient package include? So a lot of builders throw out there, our homes are energy efficient, and that's huge. And it's such a great feature of having a new home versus old homes, your windows. I mean, there's so many great things of energy efficient package, but you need to understand, what does that mean? What does that include? Does it include just the windows, so to be considered an energy efficient builder and to be able to market that way, a builder has to be able to pass a certain grade. I don't know, Cass, if I ever even taught you that, but there's like a checklist that they have to go through a certain organization to go through to actually be able to advertise themselves as Energy Star certified. Like, you cannot, as a builder, say I'm Energy Star certified if you don't follow the certain criteria and that certification was granted to you because you followed them.
Yeah.
If a builder just advertises energy efficient package, so not Energy Star, that's a big gray area. That's not a specific certification. And it could be just as good as what they think is considered energy efficient. So there's a difference in energy efficient packages between builders and what they're including and what a certification means of that. And that's something, again, can save you so much money on your utility bills long-term. Make sure you understand when they say our windows are energy efficient, what kind of R value is it? Are they double pane? Are they triple pane? Are they double hung? Are they single hung? What does that mean? What does it mean on the utilities? A lot of builders have actual sheets of how you can actually see what their energy efficient package will save you on your utilities. So don't be afraid to ask that, and don't assume energy efficient package just means what you think it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Last thing on that, the questions to ask. So we are obviously in a techie world, and we're becoming more and more techie as we speak. And having a smart home and having that solution is becoming trendy, or is trendy. Before you know it, just like we think cars will never fly and they will fly one day, it's going to be a normal thing for houses to be extremely, just with a click of a button, you can do this, you can do that. You can already do a lot of it. So if that is important to you, ask the builders what their solution for, who are they using, what companies are they using for? Can you talk to them beforehand to understand what packages they have available? Can you hire an outside company to do that? Because if they have one specific company that they require, and that's the only company that is allowed to do that solution to your house, and they don't offer what's important to you, for our techie clients, that will drive them berserk. Like they're literally going to hate their house because it doesn't offer them their ability through their Android to click a button to do blah or whatever it is. So for somebody who that is important, should really be educated on not only what their packages, who do they use, do they require to use them, and make sure that it's also the packages are affordable, because that's the other places where you don't often meet with those companies till later on in the process, and then you don't ask those right questions, and then you meet with that company on third week of finalizing options, and you find out you have to use that company and they only offer 3 packages and you wanted X, Y, and Z and they don't offer, or those packages are so much more expensive than you ever wanted to pay for them or know how much they should be. So know that information, make sure you negotiate. So when we talk about creative negotiations, those are the things we're talking about. Is if you understand that and you know those packages are important to you, that's something you can discuss with the builder up front. I really want to do package 4. How can we incorporate that in the price right away? If negotiating is a obviously part of the process there.
Yeah.
So smart homes are becoming a norm very soon. It's going to be everywhere. So ask those questions, be ahead. Don't build a house that's not as smart as it should be, because in the next, 5 to 10 years or 20 years, you're going to be extremely dated because you didn't think of those things.
We do have one question on here.
Okay, great.
I heard it's better to pick the plot with your builder. What if you have a plot already?
So
like a plot of land?
Yeah. So if you have a plot of land, there are definitely plenty of builders out there that will be able to build a beautiful home to your liking on that lot.
Yeah.
You do not need to build in a community or the builder's lot. What does happen? Well, first of all, if a community is a planned community with a certain amount of builders and does not allow you to buy land there, that's a different story. They require to use that builder, that lot, it goes together. If you have your own lot, you just hire a builder that can build off-site and make sure that you understand all your costs up front, because there's a lot of costs associated that you're not thinking of.
Yeah.
With a on your own lot builder versus a builder that has. So the builder that has developments with their lots, they've already thought and accounted for sewers and underground utilities and sidewalks and driveways and bringing water and sewers to your house and sump pumps and gravel that's needed while the house is being built. There's a lot of things that I can keep going on and on and on that a builder that is on a, that's a big builder has thought of, simplified it, and put it in their costs. So when they come to you, they have a simple solution. When you're building on your own lot and you're hiring a smaller builder typically, or a custom builder who doesn't build, who can build offsite, you need to ask all those questions. And if you can't think of every question, if you're not using a realtor, you need to at least say, what else should I account for? Is there anything else? What if there's a well? What if there's a septic? What does that mean? Where's the septic going to go? Is it going to go in the front or is it going to go in the back? Are you planning to put an in-ground pool one day? Well, if you are, you better not have your septic in your backyard because you aren't going to be able to do that. You're going to be going above ground if you're lucky, and not even that will work. So that's an important thing. And there's been a lot of plots that we've helped our clients where we ask those questions, we find that out. And when we find out they are planning to do in-ground pool, then we know that the lot requires a septic, that we go and make sure that the builder, if not the buyer, the builder that they identified is going to find and get a permit on that particular lot to make sure that the septic can go in the front of the house. I hope I answered that question. So yes, there are plenty of builders that can build on your lot. You just need to know more questions at that point to make sure that you are budgeting correctly, or you're going to be broke and be very disappointed in the process.
Right. True.
And don't want anybody to go broke. I want to make sure you know, and if you have budget for it, great. And if you don't, there's other solutions for that. Like at the end of the day, if you're financially stressed during building process and you're not doing this in the right order and being guided by properly, it's not fun. You hate it. You hate the house. You hate the experience. You hate the builder. You hate you hate everything.
Yeah.
You didn't get your finances in order right away. You didn't understand the right processes up front. So doing things in the right order will help. Okay, last things, and we will wrap up. All right, facts. Custom built homes average. So this is just giving you time frame for if you were going to go build on your own lot, what will a custom builder take? It's 10 to 16 months is the average. All right. If you're going to go with a more of a community builder, a national builders, like I mentioned, Breeze and Ryan's and Pulte's, those are usually 4 to 6 months of actual construction. Sometimes it can take longer from the day you sign a contract to when the house is complete, just because they've sold so much and they can only build so many houses a month. So they're backtracked. So that could be delayed because of that. However, the actual building time is typically 4 to 6 months.
Yeah.
So this is an interesting fact that most people are shocked when I tell them, and I think it was so cool. And I wanted to make sure we add that, but new construction only is accounted for 15% of all homes that were sold in 2019. So 85% of homes that are sold in the market are resale homes. Only 15% is new construction. When a study was done by National Association and was asked, do you prefer a used home or a new home? Majority of people responded they would actually prefer a new home versus a used home. But isn't it crazy that most people preferred a new home, but only 15% of people in a home? And the question is why? Why is that the case? Is it affordability? Is it education?
Yeah.
You know, what is the reason for it? Because new construction is a great option. It's not for everybody, you know, so that's a good job of a realtor is to assess that with their client. But if you are wanting it, it is definitely a great solution.
Yeah.
But 15%, I always think it's crazy. So 85% of people buy resale. All right. So just overall, new construction homes, there's a lot of benefits. You don't have to worry about your furnace, your water heater, your roof, your driveway, your appliances, your cabinet, on and on and on. And it's brand new, right? It's brand new. You have a smell of a brand new home. You have a feel of a brand new home. The things that you are spending money on are fun things like painting and making it your own and adding your touches to it and adding wainscoting here and the details there. You're not working on my roof is leaking. You're not dealing with plumbing issues. So it is definitely a great option. We highly recommend for people who are interested. We're definitely a trained, great, team that can help you with that process if you are considering. So definitely reach out to us if you are wanting new construction, want more information beyond this. And I hope you guys all find this helpful. So let me stop sharing, and then we'll take a couple of minutes to see if anybody has any questions.
Yeah, Josh wants us to email this over to him so I can send this after we get off the live.
Awesome. Hey, Josh. Josh is considering new. We're excited for him.
Yes, we are.
I was talking to him a couple of days ago, and I go, Josh, this week's topic is new construction. Isn't, like, make sure you tune in, like, every single Saturday at 9:30 with my colleague. He's like, I listen to you all. And I just thought it was so sweet. I go, yeah, you, my mom, and no, I'm just kidding. I'm very thankful for all of you listening, and thank you to our family and friends and everybody that's tuning in. We really hope to bring value to this. It's not to, bore you and drill you and stuff. So again, if there's another topic that we're not thinking of, that you guys think will be interesting for us to do research and bring to you and talk to you on a Saturday morning, let us know. We're here. We do have we do have at least 3 at this point scheduled for the next 3 weeks that are really interesting that we're preparing for, that we will let you guys know about. But if you guys think of anything else, please let us know.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
No other questions.
Any more highs? I want to say hi to somebody.
We have, let's see, Eileen Grant was the one who asked the question, so that was a good questions from her. Anya said, good to see you, ladies.
Aw.
Dana Miller's on. When we were talking about the lenders not all being created equal, she said, "Ain't that the truth?"
So true. So true.
Yeah.
But every trade, I say that about every trade. Anybody. There's professionals, there's non-professionals. And when you find a professional, what do I say always? Hold them really tight. Don't let them go. Keep them, keep them, keep them, keep them. I mean, all our partners that we have, that we've worked with for years, we cherish them. We thank them. We call them. We text them. We send them thank you cards. Gratitude is a big part of our team. And we definitely cherish our partners who are amazing. And we share with our clients, right? We don't give any names out unless we feel very passionate about them, that they're going to provide them the service we do. So we give them out like gold, right? I'm like, this is a gold card. You got them.
We have a client right now that just moved in and she's using one of our painters. I sent her some of our flooring people. So
yeah, that's true. We just actually added an amazing painter to our group that has done at least 4 or 5 houses at this point.
That's who they're using.
Oh, they're using him? Oh my goodness. He is going to be such a good team, part of our team already, because I can just see it. It's just culturally correct. He wants to help people. I mean, I sent him to one house where it was not the best situation for that seller, dealing with personal stuff. And the price he gave her, he didn't have to do that. We never send our trades that way, right? We want to make sure we just provide great service and but he really felt like he wanted to do and help. And he actually not only helped them paint it, he came to her house 2 days before pictures, finished everything, and saw that she was struggling with moving some of the furniture and some of the heavy things that she can do. And he brought his buddy, and they spent an entire Saturday.
So sweet.
Now, isn't it amazing? Just moving everything out for her that needed to be done. Because the way I even found out about it, because he never even called me and told me anything. He never mentioned to me anything that he did all this amazingness.
Yeah.
When I got pictures from that, house, I called her and I knew what she was dealing with, and I knew how, what she needed to do. And I go, oh my goodness, I cannot believe you pulled it off. It's amazing. You did so good. And she goes, let me tell you about what your painter did for me. And then she told me all of this. And I this is just amazing. Of course, I called him afterwards and told him I own, at least at minimum, a lunch and a gift card. And I'm very grateful.
It's that perfect fit we're always looking for.
We don't look for perfection. We just look for right people with the right heart, with the right quality, and people who want to really help other people. When people are genuine and they want to help, people can see it and feel it. And that particular painter that I just talked to, I mean, he's getting so much business now. I need to get him to my own house, and I can't get him because he's booked. I created my own problem. He is too booked. I call him. I go, hey, when are you coming? He's like, You
have me so busy.
He did. He goes, I'll squeeze you in. It's you, Ina. I will figure it out. I'll do it at night. I'll do it in the morning. And I'm like, nah, it's not that important. We'll do it later. But great. He went from being not busy at all to being so busy he can't even. So I love it. We want to add more and more people like that. So if you're listening and you're a contractor and you fit in that category of good person, wants to help, good value, will do the right thing by people, good quality, reach out to us as well. We would love to add you to our roster and share the love and spread the word about you.
Love it.
That's the end to our wonderful podcast this wonderful Saturday. Cass, I know you have a busy day. I have a crazy busy day.
Nice. I love busy days.
Me too. It's sunny today. It's supposed to be a little chillier, but sunny. So anything you want to finish up? Do you want to say anything for the...
No, I just appreciate everyone watching with their questions and joining us and saying hello. It always, makes it more enjoyable for us doing it.
It does. We hope more and more people join every single week. So thank you all. Have a wonderful Saturday. Have a great weekend. Enjoy this summer. Cass and I love you, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye, guys.